the crystal wrapped hoops, we've got hoops, and these are different than hoop earrings that have an opening that you put through your ear. Instead, these are complete rings that are soldered closed, and we're going to hang them inside of earring wires. And this is nice because they move a little bit more than a regular hoop earring. So we've got the rings are silver and they're 30 millimeters in diameter, silver earring wires also. And then we've got our beads. These beautiful bicone beads are 4 millimeter Tanzanite color with an AB or Aurora Borealis finish. We've got 26 gauge wire that we're going to use to wrap these beads onto the rings here, the hoops. And for tools, we have wire cutters and we have chain nose pliers. To get started, the first thing you want to do is cut your 26 gauge wire. Cut a piece that's about 24 inches long. Hopefully that's more than we need, but it's better than it being too short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about an inch of this wire and pinch it in my fingers. I'm going to hold it up to our ring. This is the ring that we're going to put the beads on. And I'm going to hold that tail out, leave it out there, and I'm going to wrap the wire around the loop about 3 times. And with this wire, we're going to have to feed it up and through the ring. So I'm going to do it kind of gently so that we don't get kinks in our wire. So there's our first wrap. I've gone around. I'm still pinching this tail, holding that in place. I'm going to wrap this 3 times. I'm going to feed the wire through again. And 26 gauge wire is pretty thin, so it bends nicely. Pull that up and around. So there's 2 wraps. And then I'm going to do a 3rd wrap here. It looks a little unwieldy, but you'll manage it. And pull that one tight. There's our 3rd wrap. So I can see I've got 1, 2, 3 wraps there. And then I'm just going to push those wires together. Doesn't that look nice? So you don't have to get them nice and next to each other while you're putting it on there. You can push them together with your fingers. So I've got 3 wraps on there. I'm going to leave that tail, and I'm going to feed on my first bicone. So here's our beautiful Tanzanite AB finish 4 millimeter bicone, and I'm just going to thread it on, and I'm going to press that bicone up against the ring here, and then I'm going to wrap the wire around 2 times. So it's the same kind of wrapping we just did. Pull the end up through the ring, and that's going to hold that bicone on to the hoop. So there's our first bicone on there. I'm going to do it 1 more loop, and I'm going to pull that nice and tight. There's our tails trying to escape. I'm going to pull that back around. And now we just feed on another bicone. So here's another 4 millimeter bicone. And we're just going to do the same thing again. I'm pressing it up against the ring, and then I'm going to take the tail of my wire and I'm going to feed it through the hoop 2 times. 1 and 2. So now you can start to see it coming together, that there's going to be a few wraps that show on the ring, and then the bicones are going to sit on the outside edge of the hoop. I'm going to feed on another bicone here. And you can do these in any colors, of course, and you can use any kind of wire, any color wire. So you could do copper rings with copper wire and copper earring wires, and then pick some color bicones that would look beautiful with that, maybe red or black. I'm feeding that wire through a 2nd time to make 2 loops or 2 wraps. So every time I'm doing 2 wraps between the bicones. I've got 3 bicones. 3 wraps was just the beginning. 2 wraps, 2 wraps, 2 wraps. So the 2nd wrap tells me I'm ready to put on another bicone. I just feed that right on there. Slide it all the way down. I've got a little kink in my wire. Remember, I was trying not to kink the wire. It won't show, but it just makes it harder to put the beads on. But it won't show at all when we're doing the getting down to that part of the wire. Move that out of the way. Now I've got 4 beads on there. I'm going to wrap 2 times. Go through once, pull it kind of tight, and go through another time, second time. Nice and tight. So now we just feed on another bead. It really is as simple as this. You just continue in the same pattern, feeding on a bicone, wrapping the wire around the hoop 2 times, and then feeding on another bicone and wrapping another 2 times. And I'm going to do this all the way around this ring until I get matched back up with the 3 wraps we started with. Putting on my last bicone here and doing 3 wraps this time. So all the other bicones, when I put them on, I did 2 wraps. This one, just like we did at the beginning part here, we did 3 wraps. I'm going to do 3 more wraps. And that's just to make it a little bit more secure. 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 wraps there. And it's already gorgeous. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, this would be kind of neat as a pendant too, wouldn't it? But we're going to make them into earrings. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim the wire. And to do that, I've got my wire cutters. These are called flush cutters. They're flat on one side and V-shaped on the other. When they cut the wire, they cut a pointy side and a flat side. We want a flat side on the project. So I put the flat side towards the project. I'm just cutting the wire very close. And I'm going to flip it over and cut our beginning tail. Remember, that was our inch tail we started with. I'm just going to cut it close. Don't cut too much. I'm going to cut through your extra wraps. So there's our little hoop all beaded up and looking gorgeous. Now I've got the chain nose pliers here. I'm going to press that end down a little bit that I just cut. And then I'm going to put the earring wire in. And I want to put the earring wire in between these sets. So I've got 3 loops here and 3 loops here. I'm just pulling them apart a little bit. That's where I'm going to put the earring wire. This is a fish hook style earring wire. And what we want to do is we want to open up this little hoop, this little loop at the end of the earring wire so we can fit the ring in there. And I don't want to open it up outwards. I don't want the hoop to be opened outwards and lose its round shape. So instead I'm going to open it sideways. I'm going to kind of slide it past the hoop, the earring fish hook part. And then I'm going to feed on our ring here, nestle it in there. And then I'm going to close this. I don't want to close it too tight because I want to keep this movement. That's what's really fun about this type. So I'm going to close it a little bit by pressing it together. Just want it a little loose so that you still have some nice movement and dangle with your hoops. So to make the second earring, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the bicones and wrap them around the other ring, attach your earring wires, and you'll have a beautiful pair of crystal wrapped hoops.